Hey, it's Ethan Skolnick for Five on the Floor and the Five Reasons YouTube channel, here with the latest season ticket. The Miami Heat made their buyout move today. It wasn't Thad Young. He's already gone to Phoenix. It wasn't Danilo Gallinari. He's gone to Milwaukee. It was Delon Wright, and that's someone that we've spoken about quite a bit on the Five on the Floor podcast. Why? Well, a few reasons. One, there's a connection there. Of course, they drafted Delon's older brother, Darrell. Delon was around the Heat organization a lot when I was covering Darrell, so he knows it very well. I wouldn't be surprised if he says when he's introduced that he's always wanted to play for the Heat. Of course, a long-standing relationship between his brother and Dwayne Wade, and Delon shares that relationship now as well. But from a basketball perspective, this is about point-of-attack defense. That has been a problem for the Miami Heat the entire season, particularly when they had Kyle Lowry. They swapped him with a first-round pick for Terry Rozier. Then Terry Rozier got hurt. He is supposed to be back pretty close to the end of the All-Star break, so I don't think Terry's going to be out too long. But Josh Richardson, who was supposed to provide some of that point-of-attack defense, he's expected to be out longer with a separated shoulder. So this is about adding a guard to the backcourt rotation who can defend at that spot, and that means that your wings, guys like Caleb Martin, Jaime Jaquez, particularly Haywood Highsmith, don't have to cover up for them. They can actually guard their own men. And so I think this is a real positive for the Miami Heat. This is a guy who has shot 35 to 36% from three over the course of his career. He's not a high-volume three-point shooter. He's only an okay attacker. Again, he's not an elite player, but as a role player, and particularly one who's 31, who could stick around beyond this season, which is something that you don't really have with a lot of buyout guys. He provides some protection right now while Rozier is out and when Richardson's out, and he could be someone who gets spot minutes in the playoffs as well. So I don't think it's going to take him long to learn the system. And we remember a couple of years ago, he gave Tyler Hero a big problem defensively in the playoffs. He really got up into Tyler. That's the kind of defense he plays. He'll bring that to practice and into the game. So I like the move for the Heat. Anytime that you give Erik Spoelstra more tools at his disposal, and I know that Heat fans wanted a big, but we also know that Erik Spoelstra is not going to play a big, most likely. He's going to play Bam, Kevin Love, and probably a wing at the four, maybe a little Nikola Jovic, and that's it. So I don't know that any other big that the Heat brought in would have gotten significant minutes anyway. The other thing that this does is this keeps the Heat under the second apron. They were able to add talent, replace Lowry, who was disgruntled and declining. They added talent at the point guard position in Rozier, a guy who can attack the paint, and then a point-of-attack defender on the other side with Delon Wright, and they did so without going into the second apron, which means that they'll be able to do this again, okay? Because if you're in the second apron, you can't add buyout guys. So I like the move. Again, this is not a move that's going to win you a championship. To me, that still comes down to Jimmy, Bam, and Tyler figuring things out. But every piece that you can add, we know that depth can matter in the playoffs, particularly in certain matchups. I like putting Delon Wright on Dame Lillard for a short period of time, right? Might be something that the Heat look at. So I approve. I know the rest of our staff here at Five on the Floor does. Again, we talked about Delon Wright a lot, and it ended up happening today. Ethan Skolnick, latest season ticket. Check out Five on the Floor, and also subscribe to the Off the Floor Discord.